Yeah, I'm so sorry for that. We had some disturbance in the background. Yes, first of all, I'd like to welcome our esteemed guest, Mr. Ramanand and Mrs. Samriddhi Pandey. I hope you guys are doing all right. We are so grateful that you took out this time to come and talk to our students and help them understand about the startup culture inside India, as well as push it to different boundaries inside MUJ as well. So thank you so much for coming, both of you.
Thank you.
We will begin as soon as more participants join. The link has been floated in different groups and the people who are registered. So would it be okay if we start by 2:10 p.m.? Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Yes, we'll start by 2:10 p.m. and let's just wait for participants to join. Thank you.
Okay. So good to meet you, Ms. Samriddhi. I think you're on mute.
It's a pleasure to meet you too, Mr. Ramanand.
Okay, wonderful. So you have Defy Aerospace as you're the founder of that.
Yes, I just started it in this year, and we are functioning in the cargo drone and surveillance and survey and 3D mapping sector right now.
Great.
We're just building, so we're doing the R&D right now, and we're building everything from scratch. So it's very exciting.
Excellent. So it's a hardware software startup, or is it?
It's a hardware startup, sir. So we're basically going to be providing our drones as a service. So our customers will get like end-to-end service available. So they'll get the drones also, they'll get software also, which will help them, in their supply chain. So we are focusing primarily with pharmaceutical companies and hospitals and pathologies, so that we can assist their cold chain infrastructure. Because of the design that we are working on, it's particularly to help people in rural and tribal areas and get them items which need cold chain supply. And we are making our product also very particularly for that.
And the primary supply of the drones?
Sorry?
Primary supply of the products would be through the drones?
Yes, through drones. So we have a long-range drone that we are currently making, and it is long range, meaning 100 kilometers, carrying 10 kilogram of payload.
Excellent.
So that is fun. Thank you, sir. I look forward to this talk, though.
Oh,
I was excited for this talk.
Looking forward.
I wanted to. Ayush, let me know if you have any disturbance from my side, because I'm using a dongle. So just in case if there's a problem, I will have to restart. Please let me know.
Yes, Chan, definitely. No worries. We'll start within a couple of minutes as soon as more people join.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, Saturday afternoon, I was just talking to him. It's difficult to get people on a Saturday afternoon during Navratri time.
Yeah, but college is still going on. No, in fact, I was also just in my university. I had gone to speak with one of the professors. So people are there. This is a fun talk, so people should come to this. Yeah. You are there, so they should come to this.
Yes, exactly. No worries. We'll have a lot of people joining in more. We just floated the link, so there was a little, mismatch from our side. They'll be joining. People will be joining soon, and especially our college students were really looking forward to this job, because when we had, floated posters of few people saying that these such esteemed guests will be coming in our talk, they were very excited. There was another level of hype created in our college, especially since Red Bull is also associated with this. So. To all the participants already in the talk, we have a lot of exciting things planned. So stay tuned. We'll start as soon as possible, and you can call and text your friends to join in as well. So how is your Saturday going, ma'am?
My Saturday morning has been a little hectic because I had to go for a couple of meetings and I just came back. And it's really very hot in Bombay right now. And my car has gone to the garage, so you can imagine that I had to take photos and go around. It's been very, very hot here. But now I'm here sitting under the fan, so it feels nice.
Nice. So far, it's been an hectic weekend morning.
Sorry? I couldn't
So
hear
far, it
you.
has been an hectic weekend morning.
Yeah, well, so. Morning was good because I start with my meditation. So mornings are good. And after that, yes, then the work starts and then you don't know where the day goes. So,
Yes, exactly. We're college students as well. So far we've been, trying to do multiple things. We have to deal with our academics, our cultural activities, organizing events like this. So
yeah.
I believe while in college, there's this buzz of activity going around everyone. So this is the best time to actually get into something which you know that can build your personality and build you as a
Yeah.
person.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Because in my college also, when I was there, I was involved in so many things. I can't even remember now because I had no time when I was in college. In fact, when I started working, I had more time. And I'm like, where am I getting all this time from? So college time is really exciting. I think you should utilize everything that you get, especially now when you have access to so many things. And if you have something like Red Bull startups with you should make complete use of it.
Exactly. The resources right now at hand are unbelievable. Even though we
Yeah,
have been temporarily shifted to the online mode, but it sort of feels like the world has become even more open to utilize and to utilize those resources at hand,
yeah.
which might not have been available before.
I mean, specifically software. So if you have access to software, especially if you're in mechanical, like I'm from mechanical, so I had access to SolidWorks, CATIA, ANSYS. You like learn it now because if you're planning for your job or for your masters, get a hold on it because you will be 10 steps ahead than your coworkers or peers, and that is the best feeling, trust me. If you're going abroad for education and you're going to Europe or America, these people have a different kind of academic system. So if you learn it right now, it will help you immensely, trust me.
Wow, that is great. Nice.
One of our interns are from your universities, and I've been speaking with him also. So this is what I've told him too. He's in mechatronics.
Wow, that is so good. That's great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
This shows that we also have opportunities to go out there and explore different fields and actually excel in them,
Yes,
getting
of course.
industry experience from professionals like you. So that is always a dream for every college student.
Yes. I can imagine.
Yeah, thank you. So I believe we're already at 2:15. We can start. So first of all, Mr. Ramanan, could you please switch on the camera? Perfect. Thank you so much, sir. Okay. So, greetings of the day to everyone. Good morning, MUJ. Good afternoon, MUJ. Good afternoon, Ms. Samriddhi. Good afternoon, Mr. Ramanan. We are so excited to have you here with us. We have been looking forward to this talk for a long time. This was previously scheduled on a different Sunday, but due to some internet outage in Rajasthan, we had to reschedule this talk. And we are very grateful for you taking out your time and you coming with us, joining us today on a rescheduled weekend. So first of all, thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
yes. Now let's start with the event. A little background about the event. Red Bull Basement is a global call to action, empowering students to develop bold new ideas and implement tech solutions that will make a meaningful impact on their campus and the world. The best team from India will be given a prize of 1,000 euros, along with a chance to fly to a global host city and implement their idea. So you can see this talk over here is a Red Bull Basement Launchpad that will be launching the various different activities that have been planned by our flagship Red Bull. First of all, I would like to introduce our guest speakers for today. Miss Samriddhi Pandey, who has joined us today, taking out her time, founded and developed Defy Aerospace,
Your voice is breaking.
You
Ayush, we can't hear you.
drone technology is having left handicapped when it comes. Hello.
you were lost for a second there.
Hi. Am I audible now?
Yeah, it's breaking. I think it's not smooth. It's breaking in between. Bandwidth issue, or I don't know.
Just give me 1 second. Hi, I'm sorry. Since this is the weekend, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible now, but I think it breaks off in between. But anyway, go ahead. I guess there may be some bandwidth issue. Are you able to hear me clearly, or is my voice also breaking?
No, sir. You're loud and clear. I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Yes, it's a weekend. A lot of people would be sitting on their laptops and gaming around, having some fun. So there might be some bandwidth issues, but don't worry. We'll try to work it through. Yeah. Okay. Once again, let me just check. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you, sir. So as I was saying, Ms. Samriddhi Pandey founded and developed Defy Aerospace, which is a unique drone technology for commercial cargo operations, helping the healthcare sector in India. As we know, during the COVID pandemic, the healthcare sector in India especially was handicapped with the delivering of vaccines and other required medical assistance. So especially building a drone technology that could help in providing emergency services and assisting cold chain infrastructure of pharmaceutical companies. It can help to save more lives. In 2021, in order to help the healthcare sector in such tough times, where healthcare services had become the nation's top priority, she worked with the world's finest and premium car company, Rolls-Royce, where she was the design engineer and where she also created the first of its kind build and rigging method for variable vane mechanism using basic principles for design for assembly. A state-of-the-art ultra-fan engine aimed to minimize human errors during development and follow cost reduction designs. Samriddhi is a mechanical engineer from NMIMS, Mumbai, and has pursued her master's in aerospace vehicle design in Cranfield University in the UK. She has also done many, many amazing projects in which we are all of. Thank you for joining us, Ms. Samriddhi. Next, I would like to introduce Mr. R. Ramanand, who has served as the first mission director of the Atal Innovation Mission. He was also the additional secretary at Niti Aayog, which is National Institute for Transforming India, between June 2017 and May 2021. A flagship national innovation and entrepreneurship initiative launched by the PMO, Government of India, and was also the previously managing director and CEO of CMC Limited, a subsidiary of the globally acclaimed Tata Consultancy Services. As Mission Director of AIM, Mr. Ramanand has been instrumental in the launch and execution of several nationwide innovation and entrepreneurship initiatives, resulting in over 10,000 plus other tinkering labs being established in schools and nationwide. He is one of the largest mentors of change networks with over 5,000 plus mentors nationwide to mentor school students and startups. A very warm welcome to both of our esteemed guests. Thank you for joining us. Sir and ma'am, the floor is yours. If you would like to tell us a fun fact about yourself or tell us something that was not covered in this introduction, please feel free to do so.
Yeah.
Mr. Ramanan, would you like to go?
Ms. Samriddhi should go first, please.
Well, yeah, you covered most of the parts actually. And Rolls-Royce is a car company, but it's also an aircraft engine company. And that's the part that I worked in because Rolls-Royce car company has been bought by another German company. So it's not just their subsidiary right now. And I was working on civil large engines. I was designing compressor components of the engines that you see flying around. So the front fan that you see and a couple more steps inside the engines, that's what I was designing. And very high temperature regions, very exciting. And yeah, that's where I came up with the concept for Defy Aerospace. And while I was designing it, that's when the pandemic started. And I thought, man, nothing better than this. Let's go back home and let's make this. Because my primary aim of going to the United Kingdom was to gain all the knowledge that they have. I mean, what the kind of curriculum that they're teaching, to take that and come back and implement it in this country, you know, and to uplift everything through aviation technology. And I found the best time to come back and started. So now I'm here developing a drone technology that should come out by next year. First model, yeah. Thank you.
That is great, ma'am. Seriously, that is something that is required urgently, and we are really like in awe that you took that it was the right decision at the right time to pursue this, and it can help save so many lives, especially with the current scenario of the pandemic. So, kudos to you, ma'am. Thank you, really.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Ramanand, would you like to go next?
Yeah, so you wanted some fun facts, so let me share some fun facts. When I just finished high school, my dad and I, where my dad asked me, what do you want to do? So I said, what do you think I should be doing? And then so we both were sort of undecided. And then we thought quite a few of our relatives are all in commerce. And so I said, I want to do commerce. So we went and stood on, Podar College, which is in Matunga. I'm from Bombay, basically. I was born and brought up there. So, and then there was this very big line. And then I looked at that line, my dad looked at me and he said, looks like you may not get this admission in this particular college. It seems to be, too many people there. And then we saw an adjoining line, which was Ruya College. And that college was having a very small line. And so my dad said, why don't we stand in that line? It seems to be better than this line. So the length of the line decided my future. And I joined Ruya College because on that day they were taking admission for a certain percentage and above, which was a higher percentage point than what Ruya was. In those days, science colleges put a premium on the first day. So I got into science. Unlike Samriddhi, who had probably a well thought of plan of her future, here I switched between commerce to science, literally based on the line that I was standing on. And then when I graduated from IIT Bombay, there were two offers which came. One was from TCS, and the other was one from CMC. Now, both of them came to the campus. I got interviewed by both, got offered by both, but then the offer of TCS came first, and the CMC offer, because it was a government organization at that time, it took about 4 months to come. So in the meantime, I accepted the TCS offer. I asked my dad, what do you think between TCS, CMC? And in those days in IIT, CMC was very well known. It was Computer Maintenance Corporation and all that. But there was one very fundamental reason why I wanted to join either one of these two organizations. I visited the Air India building, which was a brand new building at that time in 1976 or 77 when it came up. And of course, Air India is in the news right now. It was the only building which had an escalator. And I went up and down that escalator about 50 times because I was so fascinated by the escalator. And I said, if at all I want to work in a building, I should work in a building with an escalator. And both Air India building and the World Trade Center at that time, which hosted CMC, both of them had this escalator. So I said, either of these two companies are good for me. And finally, of course, TCS beat them to the race. So I joined TCS, never looked back. And as luck would have it, 20 years later or 23 years later, CMC was acquired by TCS. And so I got to work with CMC, but now as a managing director and CEO of that company, rather than as a trainee. And so the bottom line in all of this, and then of course, TCS gave me the private sector experience, fledgling organization, 500 people at that time when I joined. Today is 500,000 people. So it was a remarkable journey for me going through various growth stages of TCS and being a part of that. And then CMC was a government of India organization where I got exposure to what a government organization is all about. And initially I thought, government organizations, we have a standard image of government organization. And when I saw CMC, I was awestruck. They were the product company, all the other IT companies were all in service, and CMC had created the first solution for the Bombay Stock Exchange, the first solution for the central depository. The computerization of Indian Railways was done by CMC. They had 82 products which had been developed by the company. And I don't think any other IT company, including all the top ones that we are talking about, had developed anything close to the range of products that CMC had developed. And this I had come to know when I was part of the think tank of TCS, which bid for CMC. So since I advocated acquisition of CMC to TCS, they said, why don't you run it now? After it was acquired. And that led me to Atal Innovation Mission. And so Atal Innovation Mission, they were looking for somebody who was having a combination of private sector and government sector experience. And they said, oh, here's this guy who has worked in TCS, he's worked in CMC, he understands a little bit of both or probably doesn't understand either of the two. So he's the perfect candidate for running this Atal Innovation Mission. And there I was. So that's a little fun facts about me. But I do have to admit that, irrespective of, and this has been a philosophy that I have embraced right from the beginning, I think it is not what you pursue, but what you can do with what you get is the most important thing in life. And so every time an opportunity presents itself, and if you're open enough, and if you're not closed in your thinking, and if you embrace, the ability to be able to change at any point in time and use that moment for giving off your best, you never regret it. And at no point in time have I regretted any of the decisions I've taken or the decisions I have not taken. So that's a little fun fact for you.
Wow, that is amazing. With such rich experience on hand at today's talk from both our guests, it's going to be an unbelievable event. So once again, I welcome all of you to ACM Entrepreneurs Table, which is a launch pad for Red Bull Basement University. Once again, everything that you listen today, everything our special esteemed guests will be advising you about will help you a lot if you want to get into the startup culture. And Red Bull Basement is the perfect opportunity for you to get started, because it's just going to take a submission of your idea, of your raw basic idea that you have that can help people out there. And it can ask you to build on that. It can help you to build on that. And our speakers here will tell you how exactly. So first of all, my first question for you, Mr. Ramanand, is like we call the term is startup, right? So what exactly do you think is the what are the important first steps for a startup to take act on an idea?
So thank you, Ayush, for that very fundamental question that you have asked. What exactly is a startup? And but before I do that, I also want to wish everybody a very happy Navratri. I think all of us are celebrating Navratri, and it's a festival of women empowerment, according to me. It's been always celebrating the female energy in the universe, and nowhere else in the world do we have a festival like this. So it's remarkable that we talk about India very often disparagingly about so many other things. But in many ways, India has been a forerunner of gender equality. And I want to wish everybody a very, very happy Navratri. Secondly, I also hope that everyone is hale and hearty in spite of this very difficult COVID-19 circumstances, and that all of you are following the safeguards advocated by a local institution, local health authorities, or by the local government. Indeed, we are living in unprecedented times, and I think we are all living, every one of you is logged on, you are living in a watershed moment of our history, the history of our country and the history of civilization. And I think no other time in the world is better than to conceive and to be part of a startup, to create your own startup. You see, when I was graduating from IIT in '81, and that was not too long ago, I still feel that I just graduated yesterday. We never talked about innovation. We never talked about startups. We never talked about entrepreneurship. We talked about how can we get into a great university abroad. First of all, get a good university in India, get good marks in a class, go to the university, get into IIT, get good marks again, go to university abroad, get good marks again, and go and join IBM, Google, Motorola, TCS, Wipro, Infosys, and so on. We were all wanting to be, having world-class jobs, but we were essentially job seekers. We didn't have in us the mind or the mindset to be a job creator. And that has changed tremendously in the last 10 to 15 years. And particularly, I would say in the last 5 to 6 years after the boom of the internet, the growth of digital technology and digital transformations, the growth of emerging technologies which are becoming affordable, accessible, available, and advanced, 3D printing, robotics, IoT, miniaturized electronics, augmented virtual reality, artificial intelligence, blockchain. I mean, you name it. These are all the technologies which have made that advent, and they're exponentially increasing in their ability to transform the world through new solutions and through solutions for problems that you had not imagined before. And secondly, they become affordable and accessible to you. So it is not that you need to set up a big thing in order to start creating an impact. The second thing is, from India point of view, we are one of the youngest nations of the world, 1.3 billion people, 65% under 35 years old, 50% under 25 years old. We have what they call as a demographic dividend, which is the envy of many a country. And this demographic dividend is a tremendous energy, youthful energy coursing through our nation. Now, if we don't transform this energy into creating solutions that not only India needs, but the world needs, we are losing out on a tremendous opportunity. And mind you, others are going to grab this opportunity because India is the place of future demand. With 1.3 billion from a 7 billion planet, I mean, we are creating the demand for the rest of the world. And we are one of the fastest growing economies of the world. So when you're a fast growing economy, the demand is going to exponentially increase. We already have 300 million people in the middle class rising economy. But the potential of India to add another 300 million people to this middle class rising economy is a foregone conclusion. It's going to happen. We are growing at 6 to 8% every year, barring the COVID-19 year, and we are going to grow at 8 to 10% at a minimum. So when you have such demand, you have the opportunity to fulfill the demand. And if you, as the student who is graduating from prestigious universities like MUJ and so on, don't grab this opportunity with both your hands, you have let a golden opportunity pass by. The third is, of course, we are all globally connected. So when you're creating a solution, a startup solution, you're not just creating a solution for India, you're creating a solution for the rest of the world. Digital transformation is enabling your product, your service, your solution to reach from Jodhpur to Japan, or from Sikkim to San Francisco, or from Salem to Seattle, California to Calcutta to California. So you have all of these opportunities to reach across to the end of the world to market your product, your service, and make an impact, not just for India, but for the rest of the world. So therefore, we are in a startup world. And India has never lacked for great innovators, engineers, scientists, doctors, philosophers, artists, you name it. When they go abroad and they find that ecosystem, they really flower and blossom. So you have a Satya Nadella heading Microsoft, a Sundar Pichai heading Google, a Shantanu Narayan heading Adobe, and an Arvind Krishna heading IBM. And we have several Indians leading major universities across the world, Harvard Business School, Carnegie Mellon, London Business School, and so on and so forth. So why can't we create 1,000 Satya Nadellas or 1,000 Abdul Kalams in India? And that is why you are creating this ecosystem of innovation and entrepreneurship, which I got fortunate, or very fortunate to be associated with, called Atal Innovation Mission, and many other government initiatives that are there. And these initiatives are primarily designed to spark the creative element that is there in every one of us. All of us are born innovators, mind you. I mean, if anybody tells you you're not an innovator, just chuck him out of the window. Because when you were born, nobody taught you how to walk, nobody taught you how to talk. You looked at the world around you, you stood up, fell down, stood up again, fell down again. But every time you stood up, you innovated. And you learned to walk, you learned to run, you learned to win races, you learned to win Olympics. Nobody could stop you, nobody taught you to talk. They couldn't even, understand what you're saying. But you put 2 and 2 together, 4 and 4 together, and suddenly you were talking, you were speaking, you were eloquently debating, and you are singing. And so this creative element that we have in us has always been there. But our educational system in some manner inhibits this and somehow tells, you are the guy who has stood first in the class, you have scored 70%, and therefore you are more eligible for innovation or whatever, etc. and you also limit yourself. Now, here is an opportunity, and that's what I want to share. Startup. Look at the word startup, and I'll end at that. It's been a fairly long introductory talk, but the word startup, the very word startup tells you exactly what you need to do. The S stands for solution. We need to create a solution which will be scalable, which will have societal impact, which will be unique, and which is solving a problem which has not been solved well, or which is solving a problem which has not been solved before. The T stands for technology. How do you leverage technology which is now becoming affordable, accessible, available, and advanced to be able to power your solution and to be able to reach the solution to any part of the globe? The A stands for agility. You have the ability, but you need to be very agile, and a startup needs to be agile. And agility comes with a very clear knowledge and curiosity about what is happening around the world. Don't start off with a solution that has already been solved by someone else without doing the necessary research and all of that. And then use tools and technologies to be able to become agile. Methodologies, whether it is agile methodology or whether it is internet-based tools or collaborative tools or AR, VR tools and all that. R stands for re-engineering. Your startup is not going to find the solution in the first shot. You're going to reiterate and re-engineer and reiterate and re-engineer until you hit a product, which is still not the final product. Look at the iPhone. We are now talking about iPhone 13 Plus, Max, Pro, etc., right? And they started off with iPhone 1, and it started in 2008, and we are in 2021. And one single product, continuous iteration, reiteration, re-engineering is still grabbing the market share of the world. And then the T again stands for a team in the startup. Build the right team. Gone are the days where you think that I'm the founder, so I know it all. You know hardly anything. You need to surround yourself with the people who can bring the greatest value, whether it is finance, whether it is IT, whether it is marketing, whether it is communication, whether it is leadership, and so on. You need the right team. The U stands for uniqueness. If you are not unique, if you don't differentiate yourself from the others, you'll be lost in the race. And as Peter Thiel says, in the 0 to 1 book, which is I would advocate everyone for you to read, there are two types of innovation. One where you keep copying somebody and then making it better and better, which is easy to do, and which many of us do. Or the other is to come up with an innovation that didn't exist before, right? And that is the 0 to 1, the vertical innovation. The horizontal innovation is just going one after the other. So can you think, and India is a land with challenges and opportunities. So when you have more challenges, the ability for you to think about vertical innovation or innovation of a kind, the difference being a simple example is, and he gives it very well, how easy is it to make multiple typewriters, each of which is incrementally better, or from typewriter to word processor? That is a vertical 0 to 1 innovation. We need 0 to 1 innovation, and we have the capability for that. And finally, the P stands for persistence. If you are not going to have confidence in yourself, the great Swami Vivekananda said, if you have a belief in 1,000 gods and goddesses, but do not have belief in yourself, you are doomed. So you need to have extraordinary belief in yourself, because your startup journey is going to be its ups and downs, and there are going to be many naysayers, told you so sayers, who will say, I told you, don't take this up. This is not your cup of tea. Yeah, aapka bas ki baas nahi hai, and all that stuff and so on. But you have to have that confidence. Yes, you can. Yes, I can. Sort of the Obama type of confidence, and which leads him to become the first black president of the Americas. And you need to have the same confidence. And when you do that, success will follow. So this is what the startup is. And the final word S in the startups is societal impact. Don't forget that any innovation that you do needs to have a positive societal impact and not create negative impact. So for example, in those days you could have created cars were being developed, but the flood of cars in the market has created a big problem of emission, climate control, and all of that stuff. Tomorrow's innovations, and your innovations today, need to keep sustainable development goals in mind when you have society in mind. And therefore, this again gives you an opportunity for new innovations. Even cars, why is electric car now becoming so popular? Because the need for electric cars is imperative in our world of today. And so this is what startups is all about. And I hope every one of you gets inspired to start a startup. This is the time. And if you don't grab it with both your hands, it is yours to lose.
Wow, that was such a detailed response.
Can I
Thank-
ask a question?
Of course,
Yeah.
of course.
Quick question.
Please go.
Sir, can you differentiate between an innovator and an entrepreneur?
Well, I think an entrepreneur is anybody who wants to start an enterprise, and the enterprise could be based upon need not become an innovator, need not be an innovator to become entrepreneurial. For example, I want to start a shop. I find that there is a particular lack of anybody selling a particular item in let's say a city or a village, or this type of product is not being sold, and it is a product which is out there. So I can become an entrepreneur and say, I want to start an enterprise and I want to start marketing and all that. Innovator is somebody who's creating a solution, and that solution need not be, like I said, it could be a step-up solution, or it could be a 0 to 1 innovation,
Yeah.
right?
So can all...
Yeah. So it could be someone who is, in fact, a lot of innovation is standing on the shoulders of giants and doing that incremental innovation. And you innovate. So, for example, Samsung has come out of Apple. From Apple came Samsung, and from Samsung came all the other phone companies who started, incrementally innovating, OnePlus, and so on and so forth. And every one of them has innovated and brought some unique feature which is appealing to the market, either in terms of pricing or functionality or costing and so on and so forth, or target segment of the market. But invention, just to round it up, invention is where it is something based upon research, and it's not there before. Like the light bulb was an invention. It wasn't there before, and then you created a light bulb, and then of course various other forms of light bulbs become innovations. So
my actually problem is that can all innovators become business people? Because there's a huge gap between inventing something, being a scientist, and running a business.
Yeah,
You have all of this. So that's the gap.
That's the gap.
That's where you have to start.
I think every innovator should yearn to become an entrepreneur, because that's when you see your innovation being applied. Now, if you cannot become an entrepreneur, you should associate yourself with an entrepreneur to whom you can persuade the value of your innovation, and who sees, oh, this is something. So Steve Jobs was a great entrepreneur, okay, and Wozniak was the innovator. Steve Jobs was never, of course, he also innovated in terms of putting ideas together, right? But he was more the business entrepreneur. He was constantly seeing what the market needs and how to translate any research or innovation or invention into something that the market would need. And that's what the entrepreneur does. He satisfied market needs. Whereas the innovator may not have the capability of being market oriented, but he should pair himself up, because if he doesn't see his innovation being realized, then that would be a great disappointment to him or her.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Wow. Thank you. That was such a detailed response. I mean, I personally got to learn a lot as well. So to summarize, startup, the full form of startup that we just got to know, stands for solution, technology, agility, re-engineering, team, uniqueness, persistence, and societal impact. That was such a great, that's something that you put out there. That's such a great full form for a startup. And again, to summarize, there is no limit to innovation. So to the audience, start your journey now and grab opportunities with both hands. Ms. Samriddhi, my next question is for you. This might sound like a basic question, but from what I feel, it might be one of the most important questions while heading out into the field of entrepreneurship and startup. What makes an effective leader?
I think it's when you understand people, because you work with people, you need to understand how they function. You need to have certain qualities in you. If you don't have it, you can start recognizing it that you don't have it. I believe it's very important to remain grounded, understand who you are before you get on the journey of becoming a leader. You may want to become a leader. Oh, I want to be this, I want to be that. But if you're not grounded, if you don't understand your own self, then you're not going to understand other people too. You're not going to have empathy. You're not going to have compassion. You're not going to have the fire. You're not going to have any of these things, because then people will start getting in your head. So what you need to do is to have a vision as a leader, have a vision, have the specifics crystal clear in your head, and then have empathy, patience, compassion to get it out into the people that you're trying to lead, so that they get on board with you. And that's honestly an honor. When people start getting on board with you, they start following your vision and they start working towards your vision with all their heart. It's the biggest honor that a person can have. It's even bigger honor than being a leader. So being a leader is to actually get people on board, get them towards a beautiful mission where it serves their purpose, it serves the collectives, the humanity and this planet's purpose, and then you move forward together. And then you take accountability for things that are going wrong, be empathetic towards what they're doing, because we're all learning, right? It's like if you're a leader, you're also learning how to be a leader continuously. If somebody is, they're make your vision work, they're also learning how to make your vision work. So you need to have that space and that patience to build something. So patience and empathy and being grounded in your own self, knowing your own self is the first step towards being a leader. Right?
Wow, great. Patience, empathy, clear-cut vision, and knowing yourself.
And always remember to have that fire. We all have that fire, but due to so many reasons, we just pour water on that fire. And I feel so sad when I see people are like, oh no, I just left this vision. And I'm like, but you had so much fire. You should always remember that you are fire and you can do anything. Just do it. Just start it.
Exactly.
The fact that you're starting is the first step in itself. You're halfway there.
Don't let self-doubts creep up and stop that fire inside you.
Yeah, and especially women.
Yes.
And women in engineering, like just go for it. Forget about everything. Go for it. Don't pour water on your fire, please.
That is great advice. I definitely request all the female students here to think about it. We really have a limited number of female students who come out of MUJ to actually pursue their own startups, pursue their own businesses. So take this as an opportunity. Head over to Red Bull Basement University, check it out on their website. Just you have whatever basic idea that you have that can help change the world. Put it out there. Let the people hear. Let the people hear about the fire, about the passion inside your heart that you can use to change the world. Ms. Samriddhi, another question for you.
If I may just add to what Samriddhi said, if you don't mind, I think she brought out some great points, and I just want to add a few things. You see, the leader has to have the vision that she talked about. If he doesn't have a vision, then and leader is differentiated by the vision. Followers are generally they look forward to somebody who's having a vision and who can show them the path, right? So second is he or she has to have extraordinary conviction in that vision. Okay, but conviction in the vision doesn't mean pig-headedness or obstinacy in anything, right? It also means the ability to course correct. So Mahatma Gandhi was a great leader because he saw, okay, the vision was an independent India, but the path was non-violence. But how do you take, in what forms can this non-violence express itself? And he did several course corrections. I mean, the Dandi path, the boycott movement, etc., etc. So you take different paths depending upon what is the most effective path to reach that vision. So that course correction capability comes when, as she pointed out, you have the empathy part. You empathize, you look at the people who are following you, and then you say, hey, this is not working out, and there has to be an alternate way of going forward for that vision and realizing that vision. And therefore, the ability to self-correct, right? And therefore, that means the empathy part is listening to others. There are people who are around and who can tell you that, look, this is not working, and maybe this will work, and maybe that will work. And if you as a leader say, only I know everything, which is the point that I made earlier, and then it's doomed to be a failure because you are no longer willing to accept new ideas. So you should have that humility factor. Great leaders are always very humble. You will not find them bragging about what they can do and so on. And you have seen leaders even in recent times who do that and what happens to them, right? in the global arena. So that is the ability to course correct, but having a firm vision, and working towards that vision with conviction. I think these are very, very important factors, and they set a leader apart from the rest of the people. And the ability to inspire, inspiration, the ability to inspire comes by being a great communicator and a person leading by example. You see, leaders who don't lead by example, soon they are discovered that they talk one thing and they practice something else, and then therefore the respect for them is lost, and therefore their ability to communicate effectively also gets lost. So that integrity, ethics part of it is very important in a leader. Sorry if I interrupted, but yeah, I thought I would just add a few things.
Yes, exactly. Growing along with your team is one of the most important aspects, because a company can grow only when the employees can grow alongside with it. So bringing your team together, working with them, giving them a vision, a clear-cut vision, and inspiring them is what a leader should be able to do. And I'm pretty sure that this is how is it learned? This is learned through trial and error, through going out there and starting doing things on your own.
You were asking a question, so please go ahead with that. I interrupted in between.
No, of course. No worries. Okay. Yes, Miss Samruddhi, we touched on the business aspect of entrepreneurship, and I would like to explore that a little further. See, when we talk about business, profit is the first thing that comes in our mind. How to make your businesses make great impact and make profit at the same time. So, as budding entrepreneurs, do we need to focus on the impact or the profit? And if it's not profitable, then how do we sustain ourselves throughout the journey of our entrepreneurship?
Do we need to focus on, can you please repeat that? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Do we need to focus on the impact of our idea or the profit we can earn from it? And if it's not about profit, then how do we sustain ourselves throughout the journey of our entrepreneurship?
According to me, I think you should have a balance. If you are going for something, you should understand what kind of impact you're creating. For me personally, and this was one of the mistakes I did, because I was like, I just want to help people, and you know what, okay, profit, money will come, all of these things will happen and these things. But man, was I wrong. Okay, because a company runs on profits. A company and the people working for you need money, right? So you need to have that balance where you are making an impact, but if you are not making money, then it's not going to help your company, and in the long run you will end up not making any impact. So there's no point really to this, just going behind. Or if you're working, because any company, if you're working in non-profits or you're working in anything, you will need money to survive, right? Capital, team, and timing are your first three factors on the basis of which your company will fail, right? So you need to understand how are you going to make money, and if you are that kind of person where you want to make an impact, find a midway. This was my personal experience, because I was just that kind of, and I think I will be easy on myself because I was only an engineer, and I was not a finance person or this person or that person. And when I started speaking with my friends from finance, that's when they imbibed in my head that Samruddhi, no, you need to understand how to make money. So that's when I started learning up about it, and it has been like a growing process continuously. So that are my 2 cents. I'm sure that Mr. Ramanand will have more to elaborate on this topic and how to go ahead with profit and impact together.
Yeah, I think something you are very right, and that is, see, I would put that, first of all, you have to make yourself sustainable, and the word sustainable means that you cannot be forever depending on somebody else for providing you the finance for you to be able to sustain your idea or your product or your service. It's just not possible. At some point in time that is going to dry up. So for example, at Atal Innovation Mission, one of the first things we do, we give a grant of 10 crores to every incubator, asking them that you have to foster 25 to 30 startups every 2 years. But one of the important conditions that I had also emphasized for each of the incubator is this is going to last for 5 years, going to give you 2 crores every year for 5 years. But at the end of 5 years, in the fourth and fifth year, I want to see a plan for how you're going to become self-sustainable, how you're going to ensure that you are no longer going to depend upon a government grant for your continued sustenance. And if I don't see that plan, I'm more worried about giving you the money, because you are come the fifth year, you're going to say all the startups which are with me, I'm going to close shop because I don't have any money, right? And then all the startups are going to suffer. So you have to have a very clear business plan in any startup. Now, so when you talk about innovation, research, startup, okay, there are three different things. There are people who love to do research, they're research oriented, so they can do their PhDs and do their research and so on and so forth. There is basic research, there is applied research, and that's their love and their passion. And so that's a different path they take. They are not entrepreneurs, they are researchers, right? And they want to do research. Then you have the inventors and the innovators who are just interested in creating a product or a service, right? And their whole emphasis in creating that innovation, but they need somebody to fund that, right? But if the innovator aspires to become an entrepreneur, he better see how it is going to make money for him, right? And what is the business plan that he has to develop? So the business plan becomes an integral part of an entrepreneur's or a startup's journey. If he doesn't have a potential business plan, then he will not be able to make impact, the desired impact. Because the vision is, what is the vision? The vision may be I want to sell a desktop on every in every house was Bill Gates' vision, right? So if you want to do that, you want to be able to create a sustainable revenue flow, a cash flow. You know, there is this beautiful saying which I want to tell every startup. Top line is vanity, bottom line is sanity, cash flow is reality. So you have to remember this. And if you don't have the right amount of cash flow at the right point in time, initially, of course, you will invest more in your technology and you will require more funding and so on. But at some point in time, you have to move from receiving to getting it on your own and then building it up on your own. And there the cash flow becomes a reality. So everybody, quotes Amazon as an example and say, even now they're hemorrhaging and they're not making a profit, but they are building volume, they are building revenue, and they are moving into, a continuous growth spurt, new innovation, offering new services. Now, everybody cannot become an Amazon, and of course, each of them have their own history. I think startups should have a very clear business plan. If they don't have a clear business plan, then they cannot, because what is a startup aspiring? Now, there are two types of startups, by the way. One is social innovators, social entrepreneurs, and the other is commercially driven entrepreneurs. In both the cases, social entrepreneur doesn't mean you don't make profit. Only thing is you limit your profit to the extent that your social cross can continue to grow, right? So you invest back your profit into furthering the product or furthering the service and making greater and greater impact. So take, for example, the Khan Academy. What did Khan Academy do? He had simple, his niece or nephew was struggling in maths or physics or whatever, and he said, I'm going to use the YouTube for teaching my nephew. That's how he started. But now look at it, 150 countries, all different languages, and you have people all over the place pouring money into his scheme. And why they are pouring money? Because it is an idea which had an impact, societal impact. So if you have a great idea which makes a great impact, you will find money flowing in. But you have to also actively canvas for it, right? You have to propagate that idea, and you have to communicate that idea, and you have to reach a point where it will automatically fetch in money. So today, I don't think Khan Academy has any issue of getting money. It is a question of how do you make greater and greater impact. But the other startups, if you're a commercially oriented startup and you say, I'm going to make this great impact, and if you don't bother about your cash flows and your top line and your borrowings and your this, that's why many startups today, they tell them that until you reach a point of maturity, don't go into angel funding and so on. If you go into angel funding, the investors are going to put tremendous pressure on you that I want to see the returns, right? and your idea is half baked, and you'll never be allowed to bake it fully because there will be tremendous pressure. So it's a very careful line that you have to tread when it comes to a startup. But I don't think it's a problem. It is a question of risk mapping. No, map your risk. What is the financial risk? What is your product risk? What is your partnership risk? What is your customer segmentation risk? What is your cash flow risk? Look at all of this. If you just address it in a systematic manner, action plan, a detailed action plan, and monitor the action plan on a regular basis or a monthly basis, and see where you're going wrong from your action plan, and do the course correction, your startup will be an inevitable success. There is no doubt about it.
Wow, that was great. So I believe your quote summarizes this perfectly. Top line is vanity, bottom line is what was
Vanity.
would you like to repeat?
And cash flow is reality.
Cash flow is reality. Exactly. That sums it up perfectly. So whatever we do, whatever awesome idea you have in your mind, you can only make a real life implementation if you have enough backing to continue it further. Otherwise, a societal entrepreneurship may slowly drool down to something that you cannot continue further on.
Right.
I think you should have a solid business plan, is what the conclusion is.
Yes.
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 Have a
A
solid
solid plan and solid milestone-driven action plan. So I would advocate to every startup, you should have a 1-year plan, a 3-year plan, and a 5-year plan. And you have to make that happen. You have to have a clear plan, and you have to make, you have to make the milestones happen. The plan may change, on a monthly basis, you review what is working, or a quarterly basis, you review what is working, what is not working, and do course correction. But the milestones that you want to achieve, because if you don't achieve the milestones, you're not going to scale, you're not going to make impact, you're not going to achieve what you want to achieve, right?
Awesome. Mr. Ramanand, I had another question for you. So, throughout the years, you've seen hundreds of startups build and grow thanks to your support. Are there any which truly stood out for you or were your personal favorites?
Actually, we started 3 years ago on the startup journey for Atal Innovation Mission. But of course, I have been also interacting with startups who have been there much before. And what is amazing is I can say that almost out of the 2,200 plus startups which are there, they are in different stages. Some are in the early stages, some are in the mature stages. But what has been very heartening is that every one of them has actually grown in what they are doing and how they are achieving. So they have been able to acquire more funding. See, what in a startup world, we actually define, there is a dashboard that we define for how do you measure a startup success or its growth, right? Are we getting increased funding? Are we getting increased customers? Is your product maturing in terms of its functionality, feature functionality? Is there standardization, validation by external authorities which are required to get, and so on. And during the COVID-19 crisis which happened, I was responsible for coordinating along with Atal Innovation Mission and DST, DBT, and so on, to find solutions for addressing the COVID-19 crisis. And we put a search out for preventive, assistive, and curative solutions for COVID-19. And you know what we found? We put this request out to the entire industry, not just to the startups. But 1,500 startups responded with solutions that they already developed within the first 1 month. March 22nd, the lockdown was announced in India last year, right? Before April end, we had 1,500 startups who responded with preventive and assistive solutions, not curative ones. And there were a set of ones who said, we have already started on a curative solution, but that will take about, it has to go through the regulatory process and so on. But preventive was the PPE equipment, the sanitizers, the contactless surfaces, IoT-driven solutions, and so on and so forth. Ayushman, that app, COVID app, and all those apps, they came out, Arogya Setu app. All of these were created by startups. And we then said we will fund. We selected out of these 1,500, 150 of them for further partnership with the industry and extending them financial support or manufacturing support and so on. So the point is, and out of these many came from the Atal Innovation Mission stable also. So the point is, startups have grown tremendously in the last 4 or 5 years. And actually we are now 55,000 startups in India. And if you see during the last year, which is the COVID-19 year, we had 21 unicorns which were born. I mean, the previous year we had only 11 unicorns in a non-COVID year. And in a COVID year, we had 21 unicorns. So double the number of unicorns got added. So from 41, we have gone to 61 unicorns or 62 unicorns right now, right? Just in a matter of before the COVID and after COVID. And I think that speaks volumes for the startup culture that has come into our country and the maturity of Indian startups. 4 edtech startups have become unicorns, as you are aware, just in the last 1 year. And this is all addressing what I call as the 5 pillars of opportunity, right? Which the Honorable Prime Minister Atmanirbhar Bharat said. One is the pillar of demographic dividend. How do we empower the youth? That's why edtech startups are becoming more and more popular, because you are able to reach across and use distance education or artificial intelligence based education and so on. The pillar of infrastructure, we have 650,000 villages, we have 8,000 small towns and cities, we have 715 districts. How do we create smart infrastructure, smart villages, smart districts, smart cities, smart renewable energy, smart water management, smart healthcare management, all of these, affordable housing. And then the pillar of demand, 1.3 billion people. So we have tremendous demand. So that's, and then the pillar of socio-economic divide that I talked about, and then the pillar of technology. All of these pillars are giving a tremendous boost to the startup industry, and you name it, you have a solution for it, right? You can create a solution for it. And that's what all the youngsters who are out there in today's call, they should aspire. Everyone should aspire to become a startup.
Yes, everyone should inspire to be your own, or be your own employer.
Yeah.
And work on things that you feel matter the most for you. Thank you, sir. My next question is for,
I just wanted to mention here, I just wanted to add to what sir has said, because I am here, I'm just experiencing this on a regular basis, is that even if we want to become like a successful entrepreneur, I think we still need to have patience.
Yes, absolutely.
There's so many low days, and there will be jam-packed days, and then there will be low days, and then you need to take care of your mental health, and you need to have patience with what's going on, and also specifically understand what kind of business you're in, because each business will have different gestation period before you can actually start seeing output from your business. So if you are in, for example, like sir said, you have fintech and edutech, and then you have hardware startups. So if you have hardware startups, it's going to be a longer gestation period, but don't lose faith and patience. That's what I'm saying. In some cases, like if you're getting into e-commerce or retail or something like that, you can have quicker turnaround. But when you're actually researching and developing something, go for it. Give your 100% every day. That's it. Take one day at a time and give your 100% every day. Yeah.
yeah, take it one day at a time. Have concern about your mental health, because when you're healthy, then only you can take your company forward and work with it, and give your 100%. That's the best advice. Yes. So my next question was for Ms. Samriddhi. This is a little specific to your company. So before launching the company, was it always the plan to use the company drones for healthcare purposes, or did the pandemic change that? And if yes, do you think the pandemic helped boost the growth of the company, or did you face any setbacks because of it?
Good question, actually. So my plan was to, when I was very young, it was not to start a company at all, because at that time I did not understand how to start a company. When I was very young, I wanted to become an astronaut after reading APJ Abdul Kalam's Wings of Fire. And then my mama said that, you know what, beta, don't go out of the planet. So I said, well, okay, can I become a pilot? So she said, beta, you'll be here and there all the time. So I said, well, okay, so can I design it? And she said, okay, fine. And then as I grew up, I wanted to design, either a Formula One car or go for this thing, airplanes. And I had both opportunities at Cranfield, but I selected aircraft design because I felt like that's very close to my heart. And when I went to Europe, and I started noticing the rampant innovation and basically the ecosystem that sir is trying to establish here. And the message that he's trying to pass here, it's already existing in Europe. Okay, and I had first-hand exposure to this, and I was like, why don't we have this in India? And why are people coming here and innovating when we can have something in India? And I was there and I started seeing all this innovative approaches. So when I was in Cranfield, so I fought for this actually. We get a list of projects to work on, individual projects. And what I wanted to do is, I fought with my mentor. I was like, this is the project that I want to do, which was to get rid of landing gear altogether, which is flying in the air. Okay, and get landing gear only on ground. And I was very excited by Hyperloop, so I wanted to get maglev on the ground, so that when planes land, they land on a maglev surface. And they said, what, it's a 2050 concept, you're not going to do it, you're not going to do that. And I still fought and I did it. I got them 3 concepts that they started working on more right now. So from there, this kida that you call, that you want to do something and you want to do something of your own started. It started from my undergrad actually when I was in MPSTME here in NMIMS. So that's where we designed. So I worked on 3 robots. So we made 3 robots for ASME competitions in Asia, and we made a fuel efficient car for Shell Eco Marathon Asia. Okay, so we went to Singapore for that. And while I was working there, I was also the team leader for that team. And that's where I knew that I want to do something of my own. And that's where I knew that I want to build a technical startup. And once I went to Cranfield and I saw the environment over there, the continuous innovation and the things that you can do with so many things, that's when I knew that aircraft design and building aircrafts is what I want to do. But at the same time, the kind of aircraft that I wanted to build, that is currently being built in United Kingdom, in Germany, in Americas, it was a far-fetched option in India right now. Even though people are working here, but it's a very, very long gestation period. Okay, so there were 2 kinds of aircraft that I wanted to work on, which hopefully, fingers crossed, we can still work with our company. And with that, I saw the opportunity for drones in India. And at the same time, that was about the same time when I got my first drone from DJI, and I started shooting all across Scotland. And I started understanding that, if these drones can do so much. And that was the same time that my grandmother got sick. And she got sick. And so my grandparents are from Varanasi. I've been brought up in Africa and Bombay, but my grandparents are from Varanasi. So she got sick and she had a rare blood group, which is A negative. Okay. And the doctors told my mother and my uncle that, if you don't bring the blood within 5 hours, she's not going to survive. And they literally had to travel 2 hours away from the city to get this blood and again come back 2 hours just in time to start giving her blood. And that's how she survived. And that was the moment when I was like, I have the knowledge. We have 1.3 billion people in India. We have so many people to help in India. Let's just come back, start this. I had a design ready. I had everything at my disposal. So I came back over here and we started an aerospace company. So drones are the first sort of product that we are coming out with. And since it's an aerospace company, we have many more products in our pipeline, but we wanted to focus on drones for right now and start helping people specifically. So in rural regions, and pandemic is one of the things. So people dying from COVID is just the thing that right now. People are dying due to several reasons. So did you know that there are 36% of deaths happening in India are purely due to dog bites. People die due to dog bites. People die due to snake bites. And then 12,000 people die every day due to lack of access to blood. In Bombay and cities like Delhi, Bangalore, everywhere, we lose 600,000, 6 lakh liters of blood where people are still dying all over India. So I notice all of these things, and also we are second in the world, by the way, for maternal mortality, because women in villages don't have access to emergency medicine. These are the people that ASHA workers are helping to for childbirth and everything, and they have no access to emergency medicine. So these were the areas along with the pandemic. So pandemic was like a cherry on the cake that, you have even a bigger opportunity. That's very dark. I should not say it like that, but you know what? We want to help more people with respect to pandemic, but there are other issues too. So we want to help everything together. And this opportunity was staring us right in the face. That's when we came back and we decided that let's help the pandemic as well as other issues that are going on and get this service drones, because I'm already an aircraft designer, so I designed the drone over there. And that's the product that we are working on. But we've also pivoted, and we also have a short range drone that we are working on, and we also have a surveillance drone. Now we have 3 suite of products as drones coming from Defy Aerospace. And so pandemic was a motivating factor. It was not really an obstacle, because here at Defy we believe that there is nothing like failure. It's always an opportunity to learn more. Like, this is what I've tried to tell my team, that don't think that you're failing. This is literally an opportunity to learn more, grow more, and see where we can go, And then obstacles are just something where it's another point to innovate, because your mind has to think that, oh, how do we get over this obstacle? And that's your innovative streak coming in. And then you can come up with something so beautiful. Like, my team is so good. And I love them for that, because they come up with something so beautifully like that, looking at every obstacle. That's the culture that we're trying to imbibe. And the pandemic is something that we want to help get over. We're not viewing it as an obstacle.
Yeah, I just want to what Samriddhi said, the word fail, as Abdul Kalam said, is first attempt in learning. So there is no word called failure. It is only the first attempt in learning, or you have success. So in a startup world, there is only first attempt in learning and success, nothing else.
Exactly. So especially at this point, to the audience members here, there are a lot of issues that need solving at this point, especially if you have a solution, if you have an idea that can help people, that can help industries, go out there. And I would like to emphasize on a point Ms. Samriddhi mentioned, that there's a little less exposure that has reached our Indian students. If you're going outside the global scope, people are working very hard on making the world a better place. So I definitely ask you to go and check out Red Bull Basement's website and compete with people from around the globe. Compete with entrepreneurial minds, learn with them, grow with them, and make India grow along with you as well. Okay. Now, my next question would be for Mr. Ramanand. So, what according to you is one sector in the startup market that you think has the potential to be a game changer, but Indians aren't paying attention to it?
It's very difficult to say one sector, because you see, a country's growth just doesn't depend upon one sector. A small country, yes, it is possible that they focus on one sector and the economy grows and the wealth grows and all of that. A country like India with 1.3 billion people and all the challenges we talked about, we have tier 1 cities, we have tier 2 cities, we have 8,000 small towns and cities. There are 8,000 tier 2 cities and tier 3 cities. So the challenges the opportunities therefore are also huge. And I think the main sectors that the government is looking at is, one is the agri sector. How do we, we are the largest producers of grains in the world, one of the largest producers, whether it is rice or wheat or cotton or etc. etc. We are also the largest producer of milk in the world, for example. We are the largest producer of some poultry in the world. But we are not the largest producer of value-adding food products in the world. Okay, and so you have a small country like New Zealand with 33 million sheep and 3 million people becoming the largest exporter of milk products and dairy products, right? And they are selling to Chile and they are selling to all parts of US and America and UK and Australia and so on. And we are the largest producer of milk and we are not having value-added food products. So there is a huge opportunity for India to become a leader in using agri-technology. And this is purely technology-driven improvements in productivity, IoT-based technology for improving animal husbandry, healthcare, etc., and so on. So there's a huge opportunity. Second is, of course, education. We are the largest number of young people in the world. So if you're able to impart quality, vocational, job-enabling education, and therefore the NEP 2020, which has come up, is so very significant because it is it's making a paradigm shift, a game-changing shift from a rote learning mindset that we are all used to a problem-solving, innovative mindset. And once you do that, the innovations will come, and therefore the entrepreneurial organizations will blossom in this country. So education is another great area for focus. Third is, of course, manufacturing. IR 4.0 and drone technologies like the one Samriddhi is working. I mean, these are giving completely new solutions, right? And like she said, to reach across medicines from one point to another in India is so very difficult. Even within a city of Bombay, you'll have to travel 3.5 hours if you want to give some particular service from Thane to Nariman Point or whatever, right? So we want to ensure that we can leverage drone technologies or emerging industry 4.0 technologies. And robotics can completely change productivity in our manufacturing shop floors and so on. So there's a huge opportunity for robotics-based technologies, right? So manufacturing is the third one. The fourth is there is a tremendous opportunity for space technology and defense technologies for our country. Normally defense technologies are a forerunner for civilian technologies. If you see most of the technology that have come, innovations that have come in America, everything came out from from defense spending, most of the stuff that you see, because they need that. But actually, a lot of those innovations can help civilian sectors. Satellite technology came as a result of defense, right? And then cellular technologies, for example, or the cell towers and all, they all came up. The first originator was the GPS system. They wanted a tracking system. And from the tracking system came the satellite-based communication tracking systems. And then came GPS technology, which got integrated into phones and so on. So space sector and defense sector have opened up big time in India for private sector to help them. So that's another opportunity. And of course, permanent need in India is healthcare, right? Healthcare is going to be fundamental. At the statistics that Samriddhi talked about, 115 districts are aspirational districts at the bottom of the pyramid. We have 1 in 3 infant mortality, 1 in 4 infant stunting, 1 in 5 maternal mortality. These are unacceptable statistics. And therefore, we need healthcare solutions, and we need, what is called distributed healthcare solutions. So along with healthcare and along with agriculture comes transportation, electric vehicles. We are going to be 300 million people will add to our economy. Imagine another 500 million cars getting added. That will create a huge havoc unless we have electric vehicles and electric mobility. So this is again a great opportunity, and this is a sector which requires a lot of attention. So I would say these are all, the multiple sectors, but primarily agriculture, education, healthcare, transportation, and manufacturing. All of this are very, very important. Water management and waste management. Again, this is a big problem in India, right? Water management, if you don't have good water management techniques, rainwater harvesting and clean drinking water, so many diseases are associated with just the purity of water. And if you are able to even marginally improve the purity of water, so many people will not die because of malaria or all these other diseases. So again, water management, waste management. I mean, it is estimated that a city of the size of Delhi will be required to hold the waste generated in the NCR region within the by 2030. If you are not, taking care of waste management. So you need robotic-based waste management. It's not enough. You can't say I'm going to put people and do it. The people won't want to do such work. But you can have robots which can do and organically separate waste from inorganic waste and process electronic waste and so on. And along with that comes circular economy. How do you reuse waste? So, I could go on and on in terms of the opportunities which are there. I think it is just for people to use their own interests. Some people are interested in education. Some people are interested in healthcare. like somebody, and some people have personal reasons, you know, the experience that she narrated about her grandmother and so on is such a poignant experience, you know, that drives you and creates the passion in you and creates the inspiration in you to say, I'm going to be now an architect of a solution like this. And I'll tell you, I have seen in this 2000 startups, I asked them, what, why did you launch on this particular startup? And there is a personal history associated with everyone who has started a startup in a particular area, either because it has affected some member of his family or something in his life. And it's very touching to hear those stories.
That was awesome. Ms. Samriti, would you like to add on to this? Do you have any personal suggestions or in any specific sector that you think would be a great potential for budding entrepreneurs?
I can speak for technology, but I also have my friends who are in fintech and edutech, which is growing, which I'm pretty sure that most of the college students are very much out there. But when it comes to technology, I would specifically request, again, I'm coming back to the same point, the women in technology to come out and take initiative. My company is available. If you want internship, please come learn how things are working. Just be fearless. Don't let somebody tell you that, you know what, because I have faced so many things over here in India and abroad that it gets demotivating after a point. So don't be demotivated. Whichever area you're interested in, nothing is small or big, specifically when it comes to technology. If you have the want, if you have the fire, don't let anybody tell you that it can't happen. Females especially. I mean, men are already out there, you all already have the instrument, but even if you are doubting yourself, get out there. The only way to know if you can do it or not is when you do it. Right? If you don't attempt to do it, then you won't know whether you can do it or not. Unless you ask, the answer is always no.
Yeah.
So ask, do it.
Exactly. Unless you ask, the answer is
The
always
answer is
no.
always no.
Get started, everyone, especially the women, to all the women out there, get started on your journey. If you face any issues, you'll only learn as you grow, as you go along. That is how you learn, that is how you build. There is one question in the chat from Mr. Kathan Desai. How can a college student increase their network? So in case they want to start up, they have a good network of people who can test their products or even promote the product and hence increase the digital reach of the product. Could both of you give your views on this question on how to increase the digital reach and how to build a network of peers?
Network. See, actually, everybody should. I mean, today, of course, everybody has a mechanism. Social media has become such a important, playing such an important role in increasing your network or getting to know about people. Whether it is through LinkedIn, you have groups, special interest groups who are interested in certain areas and so on. So I think it is not about just developing a network. It is also how we are able to leverage it intelligently, and where you can also add value. See, in any network, it has to be a give and take. There has to be something that you should be able to offer, and there is something you should be able to get. Otherwise, of course, it will turn out to be a one-sided interaction, and then soon the other party may lose interest because they are not seeing the value coming back. Now, the value is not, I'm not talking of financial value. It's also a value in terms of, see, for example, there are many people who may reach out to you for some advice. And then after that, you don't know what has happened to that. You know, the person never bothers to contact you and inform you that this is what I was able to achieve, and that itself is value coming back to you. Like, you feel good about it, right? That I have been able to add value to this person and their initiative has become successful or not successful and so on. I think incubators play a very important role in extending this network. That's why we are setting up incubators across the country. I don't know about MUJ, but I would assume you have an incubator. Every university, if it is aspiring to be a world-class university, should have a world-class incubator. And a world-class incubator, one of the primary things of that incubator is how do you develop a network and enable the startups in your incubator who are incubated to access this network. Network of venture capitalists, a network of technology specialists, research specialists, a network of HR specialists, and their ability to get to know. So, for example, now what you're doing is one such thing. You have got through the university, you are accessing somebody like Samriddhi who is developing such a wonderful product and a service, right? And then people can get to know about it. Those who are interested in similar areas can talk to her about it, and so on. And that's how you increase the network of people with whom you can connect. And I think incubators also have a very important role to in ensuring that the people whom they are connecting understand the startups also who are there. They should. So there has to be a little marketing. If you want to increase your network, you have to communicate your idea very, very effectively so that the others get excited by it and they want to be a part of it. Your network increases only when they want to be part of what you're doing, and they're so excited by that that they say, hey, I need to be a piece of this action, right? And I want to be a part of this action, and then automatically your network will increase. But I'll ask Samriddhi, and I have to leave now after a few minutes because of another appointment. So just want to you could
Yes.
continue with Samriddhi, but I have another engagement.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for joining in, sir. It was an amazing experience having you here, and everything that you said really helped me fundamentally to clear my ideas about the startup culture. And we are really grateful for you taking out your time today. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
If you don't mind, Samriddhi, I'll take leave because I have another engagement which they've been calling me for some time now.
No problem, sir. It was a pleasure to meet you, though. Thank you.
Pleasure to meet you too, and let's keep in touch. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And I'll definitely visit the university and have a direct interaction with the students at the earliest possible opportunity.
Yes, sir.
Thank
We'd
you.
love to have you here. We'd love to meet you in person. Absorb all the knowledge that you have to offer.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for joining, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Samriddhi ma'am,
Yes.
could you continue and express your views on the same?
On the fact that how you can network and leverage, right? So I think the biggest place that I could network at was LinkedIn. And because to grow, I think we all underestimate the power of LinkedIn way too much. And we don't start utilizing LinkedIn very, very early on in our careers. So I think start utilizing LinkedIn. Find, if you have a question, if you want to grow your network, if you want to go somewhere, if you want to start a company, shoot in messages. Just go. Start talking to people. Start getting involved in more and more events and webinars and start attending conferences and start talking to people. Get over yourself, basically. Get over yourself and start talking to people. That's the first step. And then I think the next part of the question was how can you grow digitally? Is it? How can you
Yes.
promote the product and hence increase the digital reach of the product? So I think it depends on the kind of product that you're wanting to get out. And if it's a digital product per se, I do not have too much expertise on that to offer. That is why, I think he was there. But personally, I have a social media manager for that. So my social media manager takes care of all of these things to get my digital outreach over there, and she's handling LinkedIn and Facebook. It's a lot of work, and but at the same time, if your product has that impact, people will start noticing it. So, for example, there is a company which is selling recycled shoes, which is also waterproof, and they had very minimal digital sponsored ads and everything, but they just bombarded, and they started with just fundraising, crowdfunding, right? But they have so many orders that they have 2 years worth of orders in their bag. So if you are having that kind of impact, it'll be organic, but at the same time, use your tools. If you don't have the expertise, get people to help you for that. Same thing, get over yourself. Yeah, because many a times our mind is our biggest enemy and it stands in the way of us reaching where we want to reach. So recognize that, acknowledge it, that you're getting in your own way, and don't get in your own way.
That is some great advice, seriously. Getting out there, getting over yourself, and building things.
Yes.
That's awesome. There's one more question in the chat. We can take that if there is some time.
Yeah,
Uh,
quickly.
yeah, so the question is basically, how can a startup work when knowing that they have limited amount of funds? Or what should be the fundraising process for the same?
Fundraising process is an interesting and a long one. It depends on the kind of product first that you are making. Okay, and you have limited funds available. So first of all, you need to have some initial funds to start anything. You need to first understand your market, understand which segment you are getting into. So for example, if you want to build like a robot, right, you need money for that. So if you don't have capital for that, wait, get capital. Make sure, or you have some sort of backing. You have friends and family, and you've raised certain amount of capital, and you understand that to create this product, I have this much capital. Because, for example, I can give you an example of drone companies. Until August, investors were very skeptical about drones, right? Specifically with the kind of can you hear me? Yeah. Specifically with the kind of attacks that we had with respect to drones, right? So they were very skeptical about investment into drone areas. Now, for that, the only thing that we could do is create a product and show them that this is how it's going to work. Can you hear me? I think my internet is a little this thing.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Yeah.
There are some issues from my side. My video is checking.
So that's what. So if you are functioning in a software as a service, for example, then in the software as a service field, you need very minimal capital. And you can start generating revenue very quickly, depending on the kind of market segment you are working in. Right? So understand your market, understand the segment that you're going to be working in, understand the kind of product that you will be building, and have an initial calculation as to how much money you will be requiring. If you think you don't have that capital, wait till you have certain amount of capital, because you cannot burn out your cash and then in the end sit there and be like, oh, I don't have any money. Because as I said earlier, capital, team, and timing are your three biggest factors on the basis of which your startup can fail, especially in the initial stages. So make sure you have the right team, the right timing, you're going there at the right time, and you have enough capital. Initial capital, at least, something for your product that you're trying to build. Yeah?
Exactly. Funding is necessary based on the product that you're putting out there.
Yeah. 100%.
So the last question for today, if this is something personal.
Okay.
What, ma'am, according to you, what have you enjoyed most about starting your own company? Or what has been the most satisfying moment or your favorite moment of being an entrepreneur?
Favorite moment, I think I can't point out one because it is so satisfying. It's at times it's soul crushing, but it's very, very satisfying. Specifically because I always wanted to do this. I always wanted to have my own company, have brilliant people working. I've worked with brilliant people, and build a product that I know is going to create an impact in this country. Specifically when it comes to technology, I wanted to get into the technology sector of this country, build something beautiful, have worked with great people. So I think every day is a surreal experience. Yeah, some days turn out to be really weird, but once you move forward from that, it's the most beautiful experience. So I think the one moment where I realized that life couldn't get better than this was when we had our test going on for our drones, and we were doing assembly of the drone close by to Bombay. We were in Karjat, and I was driving down every day from Bombay to Karjat. Okay, and it's a beautiful drive. And we had spent the entire day just assembling drones, testing, and I was tired and very this thing. And I was driving, so 2.5 hour drive from Karjat to my house here. And I was driving down, and fortunately I had a good car, so I had sunroof and everything. I opened it, I was sitting in cold air and a little bit of rain, and I realized that at this moment where I'm testing my own drone that's going to help people with beautiful team, this is the perfect moment. This is the absolute bliss. That has been the most satisfying moment of this entrepreneur journey until now.
Exactly. The satisfaction of seeing your idea come to fruition is
Yes.
probably the best aspect of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
And the fact that you're able to do it yourself, you don't have to, or you don't have to offer your services to a boss or to an employer. You're building stuff on your own that you know can make a difference, that you know will make a difference.
Yeah,
That
the freedom is good, but I think I am a stricter, like, since I am running my own thing, I'm a little bit more strict with myself than I was when I was an employee. Because you have to be disciplined. You have so much on your plate that you have to be disciplined. You have to be in the proper frame of mind. Otherwise, it's going to take a long time for you to develop your company if you haven't developed yourself. So start developing yourself. If you want to start a company, if you want to invent in something, start developing yourself.
exactly. So the crux of it, it all boils down to starting now. Whatever idea you have, whatever changes you want to implement into the world, you can only do that when you go out there and actually push yourself to your limits. You need to implement it. And Red Bull Basement is going to be the perfect opportunity for you guys to get started. Go ahead, register whatever idea you have of whatever state, of whatever industry. Go out there, put it out in the world, shout it out to the world, and it will come back to you in better implications than you can possibly imagine. Once again, I would like to thank Ms. Samriddhi for taking out your time. We are really grateful for having you here with us. It has been an amazing experience, to be very honest. This entire talk, I personally have enjoyed a lot, along with your views as well as Mr. Ramanand's view. Thank you so much for taking out your time from your busy schedule, and we are very grateful, ma'am. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Ayush. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and I absolutely loved your questions and the way that you have conducted this. And I had fun. It was really good. So thank you for having
Thank you.
me here. It's an honor.
I'm glad you had fun, and I'm really grateful to the audience also who stuck around, and to the people who were asking questions. I hope you got to learn a lot about the startup society in India. And stay tuned. There is a lot more planned, especially from Red Bull's side. And go ahead, register now on Red Bull Basement. Go ahead and search it on Google. Thank you so much for coming, ma'am. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you. Take care, guys. All the
And
best.
thank you and bye bye. Take care.